Hi, don't mind this stupid filter, but I like it. So, I wanted to do this video on my nightmare experience with the Nexplanon birth control. Um, I will preface this because I'm sure a bunch of Nexplanon searches will find this. I do have autoimmune diseases. I have lupus and Sjogren's, meaning you should never take birth control. But at the time that I had Nexplanon, I was not aware that I had those things. I'm also bipolar, and as I would say generally everyone knows, if you have any sort of mood or psychiatric disorder, um, birth control can really screw with it. But I'll just start from the beginning. When I was 15, I started taking birth control, and the very first one I tried was the depot shot, and it worked fine for me. I had no mood changes, I had no weight gain, I had no side effects. It made my period go away totally, which was dope. Um, but you're only supposed to be on it for like a year, not even a year. Um, I was able to just not bring up how long I had been on it, and I was on it for about 6 years. And finally, I went to, I had moved, and I didn't have a regular gynecologist, and I was going for my yearly, and I went to a Planned Parenthood in the area that I had moved, and the lady asked me how long I had been on the depot shot, and I said, it's like 6 years. And she was not going to let me leave the office. I was due for one. She was not going to let me leave the office having another depot shot. So she gave me my options, and they really seemed to push the IUD on me, but for personal reasons, I do not want an IUD. And I don't, not only did I not want kids anytime in the near future, but I don't want kids at all. And again, I would like to just butt in and say that Planned Parenthood is the best, like, women's health experience I've ever had in my life, and if I had one in my area now, I would still go there. But as they were giving me my options, I told them I never wanted kids, and instead of just laughing at me, they gave me a number for a doctor who was willing to sterilize me at a young age. My insurance didn't cover it, but I'm getting off topic. Sorry. I chose an Nexplanon as my next birth control option, and I made an appointment to come in. Once I got my records, I just kind of had to prove that I had had my last depot shot on the day that I did, so it wouldn't overlap. So I brought that in. That was good to go. I got it. I was very, very scared, and I made a nurse hold my hand while I cried. Not because it hurt. I was just scared because, I mean, that's a big old tube going in your arm. Even the lidocaine, which they say is the worst part, they say it feels like a bee sting. That really didn't hurt me. I was just afraid I wasn't going to be numbed enough, and I definitely was. So the insertion was very quick, very painless. I saw pictures of women who bruised horribly. I didn't bruise hardly at all. It was just kind of tender to the touch for a while. My bandages fell off when they said they would, and then I was good to go. And as for, I got it in April or May. I got it in April of 2018. And I still continued to not have a period up until about August. I had one really heavy period, and then I never had one again. I would have weird brown spotting. That was it. But what I did notice was about a month after I got it, I started gaining weight. And I had also had some other medication changes, but it was medication that I had been on that same type of. It was an antipsychotic. I was just trying a different one. And yes, those are notorious for weight gain, so it may have been two at once, but I really contribute the weight gain to the Nexplanon. I went from about 120 to 140 in a matter of 6 months. And from then, I by the time that I got it out in March of 2019, I weighed 150. And my diet had not changed. My exercise had not changed. Nothing had changed. And I also began having weird pain, weird emotional problems, weird rashes, and I am labeled a hypochondriac. I always am afraid something's wrong with me, but the thing is that I'm usually right. Um, so I had been having these autoimmune disease type symptoms happen, and I had already been afraid that I had an autoimmune disease, and I had been tested for an autoimmune disease prior. Um, but it was just very odd symptoms that only an autoimmune disease could explain, specifically lupus, which I do indeed have. Um, and drug induced lupus is indeed a thing. So I was getting the rashes, the rashes and the pain were the worst of it, and the weight gain. Um, and whenever I had my labs drawn to find out that I had lupus and Sjogren's, I was still on the Nexplanon. It was still in my arm. I literally had the labs drawn, and then I went back into the office, and they removed it. And that's when my results came back that I did have lupus and Sjogren's. Um, and I slowly but surely began to have fewer and fewer symptoms of the lupus and Sjogren's as I assume the uh, chemicals from the Nexplanon were leaving my body. And now it is the first or second, it's early October. Today's early October, 2019. So I've had it out for 7 months, and I would say that I almost feel normal. I think that my lupus is not drug induced. I think that I have it anyway, but I think that the Nexplanon really made it worse because with autoimmune diseases, sometimes when you have foreign bodies and you like breast implants or lip filler or IUDs or the Nexplanon, um, it can trigger the reaction to be worse because it says, oh, there's something there that's not supposed to be, let's attack it. And the summer after I had the Nexplanon, I was incredibly sick. That's what kind of catapulted me into being a hypochondriac and then persuaded me to seek medical attention because I just got so unexplainably sick for no reason with symptoms that didn't make sense. And I can't say that it's coincidence that after I had it removed, I'm almost back to normal. I mean, I do still have lupus, but I feel so much better. I can function. I can function with minimal intervention on the lupus side of medication. Um, and I am in a group on Facebook called Nexplanon Nightmares, and I see so many women having almost the same problem and the uncontrollable weight gain. And, I didn't even touch on being bipolar. I was almost in a state of psychosis for the entire time that I had it, especially there at the beginning. It was really one of the worst things that ever happened to me. But, I mean, I'm not going to just talk completely bad about it. Did it work as a birth control? Yes, I was not safe at all with the sex I was having while I was on the Nexplanon, and I didn't ever get pregnant or have a pregnancy scare. I pretty much didn't have periods during it, so that's cool. But I just want to give a fair warning. If you have any kind of autoimmune disease, not only do I recommend that you don't take hormonal birth control at all, but I recommend you don't get the Nexplanon, and I recommend that anybody struggling with weight or emotional problems doesn't get the Nexplanon. Um, and I've seen horror stories of it getting lost in people's arms. I would have nightmares whenever I realized that it was causing me problems. I would have nightmares that I totally lost it in my arm and it was never going to get out. And I just think Nexplanon is bad news. That's my experience with it. Of course, talk to your doctor, talk about your best options. Maybe the Nexplanon is the best option. I've heard from several people who have it, love it, get it again after the 3 years are up. Hey, that's awesome. I mean, we get to choose what we put in our bodies and what works, and if it works for you, that's super awesome. I know a lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about the depot shop, but if I could be on that for the rest of my life, I absolutely would. It was fantastic for me. But I just wanted to be upfront for people who may have issues similar to me, I don't think the Nexplanon is a good option for you. And I know it's not a good option for me. And yeah, that's my experience. You can find groups on Facebook talking about it. You can look up on message boards about it. But I just wanted to put in my 2 cents about it. So, thank you for watching.